Okay, today we're going to be doing one of my very favorite things, which is making paperclip dangles. These are really cool embellishments you can add to your junk journals, to your altered books, to anything. And the way I like to start is I collected all of this stuff that we can use. So, a whole bunch of tags, a whole bunch of paper clips, a whole bunch of grommets, connectors like jump rings, O-rings, bubble paper clips, and then a ton of dangly bead bits. And the way I got all these dangly bead bits is by going to an antique auction. I got a whole bunch of really cool earrings, stuff like that, and then just took them off their little earring stems. So here's everything that I'm going to use today for this project. And I also thought it would be fun to have a piece of paper. This isn't exactly Halloween paper, but it has a lot of texture. It's got the lines, it's got the things I can use, and it's also scrapbook paper, so it's a little bit heavier stock that I can do. All right, just kind of picking through, and you should just, so I would say that making these kind of paper clips for me is not a, oh, I'm going to do this exactly this way. I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's more like, okay, I'm going to make a whole bunch of different stuff, and then I'm going to start piecing it together to see how it goes. And these are really cool. I love this punch. It's a Fisker's punch. And I'm going to start by making one set of these tags. And you'll see later I go back and I'm like, nah, I need to make two sets. And what I do is I glue them together so that they're a little bit stiffer, which gives them some body while I'm doing the hanging all the stuff from it, right? So you need to have, you can use paper, and you can even use paper as background. You'll see at the end I have a little banner that I use as a background for one of the dangles. And that'll be great, but at the end of the day, you really have to make sure that you have some stiff paper, something that can hold up to the rigors of hanging a lot of stuff from it. All right, so I am going to use here, I'm going to start matching them up, figuring out what I'm going to do. And I am going to use a little bit of this art glitter glue. That's my favorite. You just have to use a pin to get it open. Squishy squish. It's going to come out. And I just go around all the edges and then I stick them together. And we're going to do that for all of them. And then just kind of set them aside so that they can dry for a wee minute. Now, it doesn't take very long. This one probably would take the longest because I put a bunch more glue than I really needed on it. But this is just going to be putting all these together. Okay, now this is my favorite thing about doing these paper clips. This is what really kind of makes them grungy and fun. Is on a lot of them, I will take just a plain Jane paper clip. Now that's one that I have actually made old, rusted. I used peroxide vinegar and water and put it in there. There's a whole bunch of recipes to do that on the internet. But functionally, what you do to make these paper clips look way cooler is you take a little strip of, and I'm using music paper, but you're going to put some glue in here, and then you're going to just glue it around and around and around till you get to the end. And once you're at the end, you're going to tear off the edge and put it around the end. And sometimes I'll make them all at once, but I didn't know if I was going to use one or many of those. That looks really cool. Oh, some tape around there. And you can just wrap this around, and then I just put a little dab of glue at the end of it to keep it all put together. Okay, now we're going to start figuring out how we're going to get the different clips to stick on. And I think this one is going to have that's called bulldog clips, bulldog clip at the top of it. And here I'm just adding a little, those are called bubble safety pins. And we're going to figure out, that's a really wide tag to put on a little paper clip. But that's okay. We just need to, like I said before, this is more of a art than a science. And I'm just going to fiddle around and see what I like, what I think I'm going to use, which is going to go together. And I did think that that would work, but I wanted it to be a little bit skinnier. So I just knocked off the end, and then you'll see the cool thing is you can, it took me 30 seconds to make this thing, right? And I have more paper, so I knocked off the edges, and you'll see in a wee second, I decided even that was too wide for my little paperclip thing. So I just cut off a little bit more. Don't forget, you can just change things as you need them to make them fit with your paperclip. Okay, now we're going to cut off that little extra bit. And so it's just a straight up and down little tag. I try to clean as I go, but I don't know that I'm always super successful. And now we got to get some color in here because I do want it to have a little bit of color. That's archival. Tim Holtz, I think it's fossilized umber. And I just want to get a little bit of color on there. And you'll see, you can think, oh, you need it to be perfect, but you don't need it to be perfect because this is just going to be one little tiny bit of a giant paper clip. I love how that turned out. It's really rich in person. The color is really rich. Okay, and the reason I like the, that's Ranger Archival, is it's a permanent color. So if it gets wet, it doesn't matter. All right, now I grabbed just my big ink pad of Archival Black. We're going to be using that to grunge up most of this. And I'm just going around this tag. Okay, now I have to say one of my very favorite things to do is to add little bits and pieces of different ribbon or some edge stuff. And this is a piece of black edging with little balls at the bottom that I had used to, that I had then dyed black. And I'm just using a mini stapler to hook that on. This doesn't have to be be perfect because again, this is just going to wind up being a big, huge paper clip that has lots of stuff on it. Plus, with the stapler, I don't have to worry about my things falling off. All right, now let's figure out, are we going to use this little bauble? I love it. But the other thing to think about is where are you going to put it, because this is going to be a very fat one. Some of them are much thinner, but this one has a little fat bunch of beads at the end. So I'm not sure if that's going to work. And then you want to start figuring out how your things are going to go together. And you'll see I'm going to do a ton of just fiddling around here for a minute to see what I want to put together. All right, I'm using my crocodile to attach grommets, make holes first, and then attach grommets, which are eyelets, to this little tag so I can get an idea of how to do this. And I have a whole reinforcer video that can show you. If you don't do a whole lot of grommet stuff, then you might not know about that. But just adding a real paper clip to this one, and next we're gonna slow it back down because I have this is a piece from my free printable for the Halloween free printables. And this is really cool because it's a little tag already printed in Halloween color. And then I used the Heidi Swap Mink to put a little bit of gold foil on it. And now that is only on, that's on copy paper. So I for sure, oh, actually it's presentation paper. So I for sure needed to reinforce that. So I just used one of those tags that we made earlier to make that a little sturdier, and then glued that on here real quick. Okay, and now I want to distress the edges of it a little bit with the archival, and we're going to see, I got to put something over it. Well, I guess I don't have to, but I like to. And I thought maybe that bright yellow bead, it's really bright in person, especially compared to everything else. And that's one of the things you really want to watch. Like, does it match? Is it going together? None of those things really feel like I'm loving them on there. That's a little ribbon thingy. That didn't work. And so I really have to try to figure out something. That's way too long. All right. That could be cute, but that's way too long. I could take some of the beads off if I ever felt like it. Is that gonna work? Nope. And then I spotted it. Yay! That worked perfect. And that is a little Tim Holtz medallion. So I got to put use the hole punch on the crocodile and then put the grommets in. All right, and now we got to find out what kind of paper clip we're going to use to do this. That's a safety pin. I love those safety pins, but they have kind of a weird back. So I guess it really depends on what you really are looking for it to do. Because see how, because there's a circle in the back, it really kicked it out. That's why I like these bubble safety pins the best, to be honest with you, or a regular safety pin or a regular paper clip that has the big opening at one end or the other. And once I did this and saw this on here, I knew I was going to have to figure out what to do with the top of that clip. And of course, we just did our little trick with a little bit more paper. A little bit of grunge. And that turned out super cute. I was really happy with that one. And then we need a hook. We need something at the top that we're going to hook it to the actual book. And now we do need something at the bottom. And this is where another little bit of fiddly bits. What are we going to put down there that's going to look good? And that's kind of green. You can't really tell it, but that thing I'm holding is really, really green. And it didn't seem like it was going to go with it. A whole bunch of trial and error with this kind of project. And you just want to, so there, it doesn't take any time to put them on and take them off, right? Put it on, see if you like how it looks. If, ow, and you're not, like, you're not doing this for the rest of your life. The cool thing about this is, if you ever decide you want to change it, oh, the reason why, I know why I went with that one. It has a cat at the bottom. So I thought for Halloween that would be perfect. But what I was saying was, you're not making a lifelong commitment. If you don't, if like say I got done with the Halloween journal and I thought, oh my gosh, I need a dangle with a cat for something else, I could either take it apart or I could just use that one in its entirety in some other journal. Okay, now I'm going to take the super heavy duty tag from before that I did put grommets in while you were gone, and I'm going to bend over this really cool, I don't know what they're called. Tim Holtz makes them. They're little tin type things that are, they look like little metal keys on a typewriter, but they're just paper. But they're something fancy that I don't have to do, which makes me super happy. And then I want to make sure that this sticks down. And this tag is problematic because it was actually made as a side tag to hang dangles off the edge. So it's super heavy on both sides. It has glossy accents. It is a sturdy little tag for making dangles on. All right, now we got to start thinking. I see that little black and white tape, and I start thinking, how about a black and white one? This is just really popping out. And see, this is what happens as you keep going and you start to have things that you can picture together. And it's sort of like when you had granimals when you were little, when you were like, oh, these are all orange, or oh, these are all purple, or oh, these are all this color. And then you can start to picture them together. So I can see that black stuff going together. I can see there's some orange over there. I don't know if I'm loving what's hanging off the end of that one. Okay, so next I wanted to use this tag. This is really kind of cool. It was a big fancy tag that I did for a different project, but I didn't wind up using it. And it has texture paste on it, and it is going to go just perfect with those long metal hangy things. That was an easy peasy one. Once I got it skinny, that's a lot of times all you have to do is get it to the right shape, and then you're like, oh, okay, I know exactly what goes on this one. And so we're going to put this on here. And using those bubble safety pins is the Shizzywig. I'll make sure to put a link for some of them so you can see what I'm talking about, because they really are the best. They don't mess up your projects. And here I'm just going to put a little bit of lace at the bottom of that tag just to zhuzh it up a little bit. Trusty stapler. And it's not going to hold anything. Like, it's not, I'm not going to hook the, I'm going to put a grommet in here. And so I'm not going to hook anything to it. So it doesn't have to be very sturdy. And we'll just get this grommet going. All right, I went with a super cute bright yellow grommet. And I thought, is this the place where the yellow bead can go? Because I had set up a color scheme for this: black, orange, purple, and yellow. And so I thought maybe that would be where the yellow bead could go. I even put it on a paper clip to put in here. But then I thought what the problem was that there wasn't enough of a similar color there to really make it make sense. And so I thought, remember I said you're going to start to see color combinations that might go good together and things that are going to look good together. And then, of course, I thought, oh, that'll be perfect. I'll put that at the end of that, the other tag that we had made. And that turned out just super. I didn't like the kind of gunmetal gray one, but I knew I had this one bead that is orange also, and I thought this one turned out amazing. You'll see pictures at the end of all of them when they're done, and this one turned out really good, and it's a long tag because it has 2 tags on it, but that one is great. So now I have 2. Okay, back to, now I'm like, okay, I got to get this black and white one going, but I have this blue thing. I thought I could make a tag here. And what I wanted to do was grab some of the tissue paper that I had made the other day using the gel plate and some acrylic paints. And so here I'm just taking a wee little corner of this tissue paper. You could use Mod Podge. Functionally, what I did was I just put on some of the art glitter glue because it was out, and spread it around, and then put it on there, and then just stuck it down. And this was the perfect place to put some purple grommets. I was super excited about that. So I had a little bit of purple in the background of the tissue paper. I had a little bit of purple in the grommets, but a lot of black and white. And then there we go. So what happened was, at this point, I realized I was thinking I was going to be done after one more to make 3 dangles, but come to find out there's going to be an extra 4th dangle. And I thought this one turned out, this may be my favorite. I think I say that about all of them, but I'm a black and white and purple kind of gal anyway, so this is right in my wheelhouse, to be honest with you. I get my little beads. I think I put them on backwards. You'll do that. The tag wound up in front instead of the beads being in front, so you just take it apart, get it squared around, set them back right again. That's the cool thing about using paper clips or binder clips or any of those. You can just move things around, and that's upside down now. There we go, right side up. And then I'm going to put this guy on the very bottom with the black dangly bit and the black and white bead. Honestly, this one makes my heart swoon. I think this is going to wind up either on the cover or hanging down the spine of my journal. And then I knew I couldn't just, okay, if you're doing all this scrunching stuff, and I hadn't done anything to the back of that tag, so I grabbed some purple archival, it might have been gray archival, and just added some grunge around the edge. Okay, last but not least, we have that cool brown tag that we made. And I have, I went to Joann's for the clearance, and I found these really cool leaves with a gem in them. So that is, it's hard to see here, but that is really cute. And then I know I have some brown dangles. And I like to put a tag behind dangles. I think that's just a little banner thing. And I think that is a cute way to frame them. And I had to get my glasses because I can't see without them. But that dangly thing, I can't remember if we kept that on. It seems pretty big for it. Yep. Now I know. Yep. but I need something in between, right? That I guess you could hook that together. And I had this piece of lace, and honestly, I was like, I am brilliant, because I thought, let's make this one a little bit different. The thing about doing the dangles, and I'll see people that make, 20 of the same kind of dangles, and that's not the kind of books that I make. My books are all super different. They're very eclectic. They're very full of different materials, different products, and so I don't want them to be all matchy. So I was super excited to think of this and to do the little piece of lace in the middle of it. Okay, to give it enough body to hold anything, if I had just had one piece of lace, I think it would have been a little flimsy. But what I did was I folded it in half, and then I put the dangle at the end and the dangle at the top. And then I wanted to, like, hanging something from it felt like it might really stretch the lace out and make it weird. So I decided to, once I had it sitting there, I knew I needed to have something on there. So I grabbed some of these brads, and brads are cool. They're, you just stick them straight through, and I thought this one would be perfect. It's kind of red, but kind of dark, very natural. So this is kind of a natural colored one with that brown tag, the grays, the brown on the back. And then what happens is you put the brad through, and then you just spread it out in the back, and that is what's going to hold it onto this tag. And last but not least, I found this little, in my stash of stuff I was going to use for this book, this little dangly tag that said spells. And so I used a little teeny tiny brad to hook that on. And that went perfectly because it was kind of gray. And there's a dangle at the very bottom. And now I'm putting all my stuff away, and we'll take a peek at all of them at the end. And then I'll do a close-up so you can see them. All right, so one that's kind of natural with a lot of browns. Two, my all-time favorite, black and white. Three is going to be the orange one that has the cute little red bead that's a lot brighter than the rest, that has yellow and orange. And I can even go back, and what I'll probably do is brighten up, use some bright yellow to brighten up that tag. And then this is the last one that has that cool fancy tag in the middle, and then the cat, the black cat on the green. So those are the tags. And then here, here's my book that I'm going to be putting them in. I thought you might like to see that. All right, and last but not least, here is a picture of all of them done finally. I think they turned out super cute, and I can't wait to get them in my book. Tara Jacobson, Artsy Fartsy Life.